At long last, the Honedge line arrives in Pokemon Go with the Steel and Scales event. But how good is Aegislash, and how do its two forms work in Go? We're analyzing all of this and more, including the many buggy aspects of it, so draw your sword and shield, and let's get into it. Welcome back, everyone. The Honedge line has been waiting quite a while for their Pokemon Go debut, as Kalos Pokemon have been out for 4.5 years now. In fact, our original speculative analysis came in March of 2021. Time flies. But a lot has changed since then, including the PvP landscape as a whole, and also how Aegislash is being handled. Aegislash famously has two forms, its Blade and Shield forms, each with polar opposite stats. How does this work in Go, though? Well, mid-battle form changes for it are indeed a thing. In PvP, Aegislash begins in its Shield form, and when in that form, its fast moves will have 0 base power, but they'll still generate energy. Now, of course, despite having 0 base power, it still rounds up to 1 damage done to the opponent. When it uses a charged move, though, it'll shift to its Blade form, and it can only switch back to the Shield form if you use a Protect Shield against an opponent's charged move, or if you switch out. Let's now take a look at its moves, though. For fast attacks, it has Psycho Cut and Air Slash, alongside Shadow Ball, Gyro Ball, and Flash Cannon for charged attacks. Now here's the weird thing. Whether it's a bug or an intended behavior, Aegislash's fast moves generate 6 energy in its Shield form. That's odd because both Psycho Cut and Air Slash are supposed to generate 9 energy each. When in its Blade form, it seems to work properly, so that must be an additional handicap they put on the Shield form, in addition to the 0 base power, or maybe it's just a bug. So you'll want to use Psycho Cut as the fast move, not only because it generates energy better when in the Blade form, but it's also a shorter duration move at 2 turns, making it quicker to charge moves in the Shield form. And for charged attacks, Shadow Ball is its bread and butter, and while Flash Cannon may not be great, it's the next best option to have. However, it also seems bugged in PvP stat-wise, or if not bugged, it's just really weird behavior. Watch this over 4000 CP Necrozma use Moongeist Beam on my non-powered up level 20 Shield Aegislash. That 800 CP Shield form should have been KO'd if it were using the normal stats you see on this page, but there's something additional at play. I'm not sure if they're adding additional defense buffs to it in the background, but it's pretty bizarre. So with that said, is Aegislash any good? Honestly, it's hard to come to a definitive conclusion when we aren't sure if it's bugged, or if it isn't, how exactly all this works. Still, the extra bulk makes it a lot more interesting, even though it generates less energy in its Shield form. It still should be able to take hits like a champ. But the Blade form is extremely glassy, so it's not like your typical bulk monsters like Clodsire or Bastiodon. When you use a charged move, you'll go into that frail Blade form, and your attacks will hit super hard, but then you're left in an incredibly vulnerable state. Opposing trainers can also exploit this by just not using charged moves. Of course, it depends on how much damage their fast moves are doing, but something like Shadow Claw from Feraligatr or Mudslap from Marowak could easily take down the glassy Blade Aegislash in just a few fast moves. That's why Aegislash may work best as a lead, so as soon as you throw your charged move and change to the Blade form, you switch out into something else. After all, when you switch out, Aegislash will go back into its Shield form for when you switch it back in. Aegislash is hard to show general viability charts for because it's a really complicated Pokemon. Normally I show the win rate charts, but that doesn't show the whole picture here. But do I think Aegislash will be a strong pick? I would hesitantly say yes. We'll see if these mechanics are intentional or if it'll be fixed in the future, but with Aegislash's great typing and crazy bulk in its Shield form, I'd say it's worth going after. Even if this form change doesn't make it top tier, I have a feeling it'll still have use going forward. It's also just interesting to play. On the raiding side of things though, it currently isn't eligible for raids or even gym battles at all. You go into a raid and it just isn't present on the team menu for you to select. Whether that's a bug or not remains to be seen. However, while Aegislash's Blade form does have a high attack stat, its incredibly poor bulk would have held it back anyway. Back in 2021 in our speculative analysis, it was poised to be a much better attacker, but since then, We've seen Brutal Swing Hydreigon and Tyranitar, a variety of Shadows and Megas, plus heavy hitters like Dawnwing's Necrozma, but I do find it disappointing that it's seemingly unable to be used in raids at all. Hopefully that's fixed, but Morpeko isn't eligible either, so I'm not really optimistic. Now if any additional info comes out on Aegislash, we'll post updates in a pinned comment down below, or if anything major happens, we may even make a follow-up analysis. What are your thoughts on Aegislash though? Are you excited to use it, or do you wish they implemented its form change differently? Let us know in the comments below, and if you like this analysis, be sure to give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Not only do we have more Go analyses on the way, but we've got streams almost every week for games like Scarlet and Violet, Super Mario Sunshine, and even some other surprises on the way. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and best of luck with the Honedge hunt. Take care.